Hello everyone, Tech Priest Fred here. Today we'll be starting a brand new journey on my channel. In my series called Forging Victory, I'll be covering multiple replays from my Forge Worlds guild, which is called Forge World Erioch. I will be trying to upload a video after every guild raid season, so that would mean a fresh batch of content for all you Omnizaya praisers every 2 weeks or so. The replays shown in the series will be against various bosses and primes, performed by members of the guild with their various rosters and power levels. This will allow us to see how creative we can be with our builds and what smaller or bigger changes we could include in the future to get better scores. The changes will mostly be including turn orders, positioning mistakes, or character swaps, but I will limit myself to 1 or 2 character swaps per replay at max. We don't really want to force the meta builds in every replay and in every video. However, one thing that I would like to add is that replays from this season will only be for the legendary rarities of the bosses that my guild managed to fight. I have been busy for the past few days and, to be honest, I missed the opportunity to record the previous boss fights. I hope that you won't mind it too much, and I promise that next season we'll be back with rare, epic and legendary fights. This season we are going to fight Hive Tyrant Kronos at Legendary 1, Silent King at Legendary 2, Mortarion at Legendary 3, Gazgul at Legendary 4 and Rogaldorn Battle Tank at Legendary 5. Starting with our first replay this season, we have Poop with his power level 43 fighting a Legendary 1 Hive Tyrant from Kronos. A quick note is that Kronos is the anti-Psyker Hive fleet, so you have to care for your Psykers while fighting it. Starting off, we can see that Poop also brought in Snotloga, who proves to be really useful after his rework. The Grots do proper damage and they distract the Reaper Swarms and Hive Tyrant, allowing other characters to do their damage without being disrupted too much. One thing that we can notice next round is how Poop will attack the Hive Tyrant in melee with his Eldrion. This prevents the Kronos passive from killing him while still doing more damage in the round. You can see that he gives Snotloga a chance to attack, he gives the high ground Harkin a chance, and now you see the Eldrion coming into melee and punching the bug. Unfortunately, one thing that Poop messes up, he forgets to move Eldrion out of melee for the next turn. And you have to keep in mind that Eldrion's passive only works if he is exactly 2 hexes from the boss model. It doesn't work in melee, and it honestly would be a better play to move Eldrion back 1 hex and get his passive online than to punch the Tyrant in melee for 2 turns like it is shown in this video. Okay, the second replay for our video is from Man with Bird, also power level 43, and we can see that Bird brought in Bellator as his summoner, which is totally a great idea on Hive Tyrant, especially when playing Eldrion, since his summons also proc Doom dozens of times per fight. One thing that I'd like to mention is that On-Sheet could be considered to be brought in instead of Harken, since that will allow Bellator to do his summon ability twice, which would allow us to proc Doom more times and kill the Reaper Swarms faster. There is a minor positioning mistake in this replay. First of all, Harken, whatever, isn't on the high ground. And you can see that Bird doesn't move his Bellator next to the bottom interceptor, which would allow some more Doom procs to be made on the boss. But otherwise, the replay is pretty good, especially for this power level, and I think that this composition has some potential. It's not heavy on the synergies, but the characters individually do pretty well, and they could do even better with some upgrades. Next replay. Round 1, the plan is to try to bait the Tyrant into shooting from the low ground by clumping units together and disabling the bonus armor from Tangida. It doesn't really work, so we turn on the passive on Tangida and proceed to rush the boss with a Wa. The whole replay is centered around Helbrecht and Tangida synergies. You can see that every round I'm doing what I can to abuse the bonus damage while also spawning as many Skitari as I can. They proc Elgion's Doom quite a lot if you look into it. This team composition requires you to dance around the battlefield and position your units according to the Skitari and Helbrecht positions. A highlight of this team is how you can essentially have 4 units benefiting from Helbrecht synergy without the need of moving Helbrecht himself. You can just use Actus as an attack reset and abuse your high level mechs. So you get 3 people in melee and Actus in ranged, and this allows you to get 4 units getting the passive truly without moving. Positioning our troops and doing this little dance around the battlefield enables us to abuse Helbrecht and also abuse Tangida's Skitari to their full potential, which you can see by the many auto-attacked resets on the Skitari this round and the next round. And overall, I'm very proud of this team composition. And you can see that this round I will be moving Helbrecht 1 slot higher, 2 slots higher, sorry. So I can get Actus between Warboss and Tangida, which gives me both Helbrecht synergy and bonus attacks from the Skitari. And now we get to Legendary 2 Silent King with Berg as our hero of the replay at power level 51. The thing that I wanted to highlight in this replay is how smoothly Berg operates all his units. He makes sure to get Maugan Ra in a high ground position, he surrounds Sharek with interceptors from Bellator, he quickly kills the Deathmark assassins when they spawn, and I have to say that the biggest standout in this replay is his excellent Aitana usage. You can see that he makes sure to have her passive online on every attack possible, so when he attacks from left to right or from right to left, he moves her around the battlefield to give the bonus damage and the bonus crits to every character. I have to say that this video is a true display of skill. Next replay is from Haseo, currently sitting at power level 54, and I have to say that both the team comp and the plays are great, so I will just ask you guys a question. Do you think that Silent King could use a rework as a boss? Because for me, he could use one simple change. Just give him both an ability activation and normal movement and action on each turn, just like Screamer Killer. You can also buff his armor or buff his damage, just make the fight not about rolling the dice. The current boss fight is just frustrating because it's throne dependent and it could really use some design style of the newer bosses. So yeah. By the way, great job Huseo on your replay, great damage. Our last Silent King replay is from Stern at power level 41. We can see that he brought a Volk-centric package to the fight. Abaddon and Kalgar both buff his damage. The overall plays are good, but the characters need some upgrading to be able to kill the Deathmark assassins quicker. If I were to swap one character here to improve the idea, while still being close to the main team, it would be Celestine for either Elgion for obvious reasons or Erioch for Kalgar synergies and his ranged summons. I think that the Bloodthirsters will be strong enough after a few levels and they will be able to get in melee and stay here for longer. You could also go full meme on getting Volk as deadly as possible even by using characters like Darkstrider, but I think that it's better to utilize Kalgar with some Imperials, just like Celestine in the replay. Overall, a very nice view to see a Volk-centric build in a raid. That's a great break from Maugan Ra. Our first Mortarion fight is started by River, currently power level 44. One thing that I have to point out is in this replay that Rosvita's active should be used before any other attacks, so her percent damage buff applies to everything after it. I have to say that I also enjoy Terry crafting teams that could work against Morty in melee, and I actually really like the inclusion of Celestine. Her passive makes it easy to survive all the damage coming in. Overall, to stay in the melee thematic, I would swap Harken for either Helbrecht when more damage would be needed, or Tiark or Jane Zar when making Morty hit for less would be needed. The next clip is from Tonberry level 42. What I must say is that even if you are under-leveled for a Mortarion fight, bringing in even a stone one, level 1 Aleph Null will be a great idea, as his scarabs can really take some aggro off your carries. Overall, the most important thing is not to let Morty one-shot all your carries round 2, so spread them out, best in a 2-2-1 format. After that, you need to properly bait him into using his spells as badly as possible, which can be done by grouping and spreading certain units depending on the needs. Also, please use Rosvita's active first, and please don't force her into melee. She is way better alive with 2 hits than dead with 3 hits. This clip comes from Lord Field Use Power level 41, and I have to say I really dig the idea of bringing in waves of different summons and using them with Eldrion to achieve damage. Unfortunately, the summons need some more leveling to be done in order to be able to withstand a legendary 3 Mortarion fight. But the overall idea is amazing. You can actually feel like a commander sending in your troops. Oh, and by the way, you could actually use Erioch instead of Anufet in order to actually send in the next wave after Bellator's summons die. That would allow you to have 5 guardsmen instantly hitting the boss. Overall, I really like this build. It looks fun as hell and I really love the meme power here. Our last Mortarion clip will showcase my team once again, and it will show you how good it is to invest heavily into few characters instead of spreading out your resources on many. Of course, we are talking about guild rates performance, we ignore other modes when talking about this stuff. The characters shown in the clip are almost all Diamond 2.5, apart from Actus at Gold 3, but he doesn't need it, to be honest. That allows them to tank Mortarion even in melee for most of the game. Also, bringing in a healer, or in this case a mechanic, helps quite a lot to push the idea of a melee-centric team. As you can see, you can easily fight a legendary 1 or, from my experience, even a legendary 4 Mortarion with your melee teams if you build around it properly and strategize correctly. Of course, the ranged options will be safer and better in most hands, especially at legendary 5 level, but I'm telling you, if something changes at Diamond 3, I will keep you updated. The first of our 2 Ghazghul clips comes from IMK at power level 45. The first mistake I'd like to fix is swapping Maugan Ra and Revas in starting positions, which would allow you to hit Ghazghul on turn 1 with Eldrion buff applied. Then you need to clamp up Revas, Tacticus and Harken together to the left on the first round, so Ghazghul charges at them, but stays in Maugan's range. This allows you to get Maugan's passive online. Using Revas active before the boss shoots is a correct move, but in this replay we can see that our characters are spread out, so the Stormboys can pick off Eldrion and Ra, which reduces our damage per round even further. Overall, when you see that you cannot kill a summon in a single attack, I honestly would consider focusing on just hitting the boss instead, because you are wasting your precious attacks on the summons and you are not even getting rid of them. The last replay in this episode is from Elpin's level 44. Once again, the first mistake happens in round 1, where Neurotrop is moved to the left instead of straight up, which makes it unable to hit the boss round 2. Keep in mind, we have 4 stackers, so every round of stacking the Neurotrop passive is massive in terms of the damage ramp up. The problem is that we are also squishy as hell, so I would consider putting in Revas instead of Harken to help survive the Stormboys run. Overall, that's a neat take on the Ghazghul boss fight, but Neurotrop teams need to get the Neuroparasite online as fast as possible, which would be round 2 ideally in this replay. So yeah, that would drastically affect the damage output, so please keep this positioning tip in mind for the future. That's all for the replays in this season. Like I said, only legendary ones this time, but I already have rare boss fights recorded for the next season, so in the next episode we will get more rarities as promised. And my fellow tech priests, I have an important question about your feelings about this series. First of all, would you like me to continue this style of videos, or are you not interested in them? Do you think that we should stay with the current pace of the replays, which is like a minute per replay? Or do you think that we should perhaps get less of them into each video and explain each one slower and get into more detail? Would you prefer the videos in the series to be more like 10 to 15 minutes per episode, or perhaps 20 to 25 minutes per episode? What changes in the overall presentation would you like to see? More audio effects, more diversity between the different scenes in the video? Every bit of feedback will be great for me, since I really want you guys to enjoy my spin on the Tacticus content, and I want to be proud of it. If you ever feel like joining us in the search for knowledge, here is a list for all of the guilds that are in my cluster. Feel free to join our Discord server and apply based on your activity and power level. And if you like the video and want to support a learning content creator, please consider using my friend code, because it would really help me with my progression in the game. But keep in mind, you can only use the referral code once per account, so please use it wisely. Thank you all for watching, and remember, the machine is eternal.